Hi, I'm Charlotte, and I'm going to tell you a little bit about my experiences with CFS, my recovery, and things that helped. So, my gateway into chronic fatigue syndrome was 11, 12 years ago, and I'd had a really busy couple of years in my life. I had two very small children. We'd moved house 3 times, 4 times in a short space of time. And I had been pushing myself in every way possible. I had lots of illnesses and viruses, and I had a flu-like virus about January 2011, and it was the final straw. It left me completely bedbound, with fatigue like I'd never experienced before. I had flu-like symptoms, difficulty sleeping even though I was so tired. And if I pushed myself to do anything, I had post-exertional malaise, although I didn't realise that's what it was at the time. And things were really difficult. Over a period of several years, I gradually got better in a very non-linear way, till I reached the place where I consider myself to be recovered. And then when I say I'm recovered, I still really manage my health, look after myself, and life is different to how it was before I became ill. But in many ways, I'm really grateful for that, much more in touch with myself. I think the illness has made me a better mother as well. When I was ill and my children were small, I felt like the worst mother in the world. But I think this experience has given me something I can teach and share with my children. So I've been asked to share with you 3 of the most important things that helped me in my recovery. And it's quite difficult to pick 3. During my recovery, I've got this list of all the things that were helpful and all the things that were not helpful. So I'm picking the 3 which I feel were the most helpful. Not exclusively, but they were really helpful, and I think they'll be helpful for anybody else on this journey. And they're in no particular order, they're all equally important. They were all like the building blocks for my recovery. So the first is about nutrition and finding the right support, the right food, the right supplements, but being able to absorb those food and supplements. Balancing blood sugar is hugely important for me. At my worst, I was having to eat about every 90 minutes, including through the night, because I simply couldn't balance my blood sugar. So getting enough protein was really important as part of that overall sorting out your nutrition to give you those initial bits of energy to start on your road to recovery. So finding the right help there. So that's number 1. We'll call that nutrition. The second, I'm going to roll 2 things together because they're completely interlinked, and that's sleep and rest. Sleep and rest are different. Quality rest helps us to sleep. We need quality rest. So learning to rest deeply, which then helps facilitate better sleep at night. So I would say that's really, really important. Not easy, but really important. So that's my second thing, sorting out your sleep hygiene, and learning to rest. And then my third thing would be learning to soothe and manage the nervous system. I was incredibly anxious in my recovery. Some of that was physiological, some of it was psychological, but learning a toolkit to help keep me settled so I could be in that nice calm state and my body could begin to heal itself. For me, a lot of that came from my yoga practices, and I don't mean sun salutations or downward dogs, although they are useful at a certain point in recovery. But when you're very ill, it's those subtle techniques of deep rest, breath work, reaching a state of yoga nidra, those sorts of more subtle techniques. So that would be my third, learning to soothe the nervous system. And then, I guess if I have 3 pieces of advice for you, if you're in it, if you're in that really challenging dark place, being really ill or on your way to recovery, the first thing I would say is that it is a multifaceted condition, and there will not be just one thing that gets you better. There'll be no silver bullet. It's about working out what the pieces of your puzzle are to help you get better. People that promise you a solution in one magic thing, I'd be quite cautious of that. The second is look for help and support, people who understand, experts, specialists, but be your own best guide. Really learn to get to know yourself and what's working and what's not working. And then the third thing I would say, which became a bit of a mantra for me, the slower you go, the quicker you get there. I really tried to push myself to get better the way I'd got ill, and I kept coming unstuck, researching and pushing, and a little bit of energy, and I'd want to go off and do something or find the next piece in my puzzle of recovery. And when I learned to just slow it all down a little bit, things began to move a little bit more easily. But there absolutely is hope. You know, I went from being almost completely bedbound and unable to tolerate light, sound, to now being able to walk for miles with the dog, swim, paddleboard and travel with my family, and just really enjoy my life, be really grateful for what I have. So I'm sending you love on your journey, and just lots of compassion for where you are. It's hard, so lots of love.